All right, so a very good afternoon. A very good afternoon. Let us know if you're hearing us loud and clear this afternoon. A very good afternoon. I came into the National Assembly a little early, and so as I'm here, I've decided to talk to you guys for a little bit, set the tone for what is going to come earlier. It's a beautiful day here at the Chung Conference Center. I came a bit early and I'm in the dome of the Chung Conference Center. So I decided I'm going to come on I hope you folks can hear us now. We're having some internet challenges at this end, but I just wanted to bring you guys in for a few moments as we get set to start here at the National Assembly. We're in the dome of the Chung Conference Center, and forgive us if the internet is not what it's supposed to be. We can guarantee what we have in studio, can't guarantee what we have outside. There's a bit of housekeeping happening here. We got another 4 to 5 minutes to go before the first sitting of the National Assembly for 2025 begins, and this would be the second sitting for the 13th Parliament. As you would or would not have known, we had the first sitting on November 3rd, and this is the first sitting for 2025. And I'm so happy to be here with you guys, sharing some thoughts. A bit of housekeeping happening at the back end here. I'll give you guys some visuals in a second. But I wanted to talk with you guys just on a couple things as we start today. And I know some of my colleagues are going to be picking up on some of the other coverage once we get started. But as a member of parliament, as a member of parliament, I'm here and I have what they call the order paper. I have what is called the order paper, and this tells us the business that the House is going to engage in during the course of the day. A number of proposed bills and motions are on this paper. A number of things are here. We know it's going to commence at 2 o'clock this afternoon, and it takes in some of that. Members of the National Assembly, it takes in some of that. All right? It takes in some of that. We have breaks down all the different the three parties represented here today, the four parties rather. It takes in some of that, right? And then it goes into today's business, which is what we should be more than interested in, which is the presentation of the budget. And from some of my own, and I say this with humility, from what I've been hearing in the public space, there's quite a bit of education that still needs to happen. I understand that a lot of members of the public are now tuning in to what's happening in the national assembly, and that's a good thing. And so there's a lot of assumptions, there are a lot of conjecture, um, there's a lot of um, there's a lot of, I don't want to use the word untruth, but people aren't clear on what is supposed to happen, and there is what people think is supposed to happen as well. And so I appreciate that there is a lot of scope and capacity for us, even as members of the National Assembly, to inform the public more. Um, like, for instance, this morning I saw some comments after the events at the National Assembly. There's a lot of housekeeping happening around me. The parliamentary staff right now, they're trying to make sure that the chamber is ready. And so I don't want to be a distraction, obviously, but I wanted to share with you a couple, some thoughts as we begin today's proceedings. Um, what transpired perhaps early on this morning is a lot of what people think they know and what in actuality may have happened or is supposed to happen. So we got in there to the National Assembly this morning, public buildings in Georgetown. And of course, we had said in the past we aren't going to put up a candidate for leader of the opposition. Win nominated their candidate. There was no expectation there would be a second nomination of another candidate. That candidate was seconded. And once that happens and the nominations close, there's no other candidate, there's an automatic election. But what we noticed is that there was a move by the speaker to go to a show of hands. There was no need for that. There was no need for a show of hands. And then, so instead of getting into a back and forth with the speaker at that point, our colleagues um, used that as motivation to leave the chamber because there was an automatic election. There's no need after that for a show of hands. And I hope Guyanese have an appreciation for that. That is almost standard. If there is one contestant for the post, there's no show of hands to count how many persons. There's no show of hands. There's an automatic election. Um, but that being said, I appreciate there is a lot of misinformation. Maybe that is the word. And I think we as members of parliament, we are going to have to we're going to have to do some of that to educate people more on how parliament operates. It isn't cut and dry. It's a very, very complex process. But if I can get a hang of it, anybody can. That's all I want to say. That if I can get a hang of it, anybody can. And that's why I wanted to come on to set the pace, because to set the tone rather. People should not be saying we and seeing or hearing from a particular person. Today, in spite of the fact that we got all of these pages here, despite we have all of these pages, this is what is supposed to happen this afternoon. This is what is supposed to happen here. The main thing for today is the presentation of the budget. The presentation of the budget, right? If the speaker, in his discretion, wants to allow, for instance, some comments or remarks by the new leader of the opposition, Mr. Asruddin Mohammed, he can do that, but that is not expected because it doesn't form part of the agenda for today. I want you to understand that because some persons might be looking for that. Like some persons were looking for it to be televised or for more media to be there. All of that is at the discretion of the speaker. I want people to understand that. So don't let us start crying foul. Today is about Ashley Singh. This afternoon is about Ashley Singh presenting the expenditures and presenting the budget. That is what today is about. And then we're going to have a chance to examine that later on. we're going to have a chance to examine that later on. So I just wanted to give what should be the expectation, right? Dominic Allen says a show of hands would have been important. Dominic, I see Dominic's comment, and I want to respond to Dominic respectfully that once you have one person who is already nominated by that team, there is no need for a show of hands. There's no need for a vote because there's one person, automatically that person is elected. Automatically that person is elected. You might want a show of hands. Um, I don't know why. When had the numbers, having 16 members, 16 seats here in the National Assembly. Win has the number, so there is no need for a show of hands. There is no need for a vote because you only have one person who's contesting the post. It is an automatic election. So I appreciate that a lot of persons are now tuning in, and that is a good thing. The responsibility is on us to have more um, educational forums and more opportunities. And I'm going to take responsibility for some of that. So I just wanted to let people know because some people this might be their first budget presentation. And for instance, persons might say, why ain't seen Terence speaking? Why ain't seen Ashridin speaking? He's the new leader of the opposition. Why ain't he talking? We're gonna come to that time. We're gonna come to that time. For instance, the final day of the budget presentation, the leader of the opposition, I think, has an hour and 15 minutes to speak. The leader of the opposition has an hour and 15 minutes, I think, to speak. So you'll have a lot of time to hear the leader of the opposition lay out his take on budget 2026, make his contribution to budget 2026, perhaps offer some policy prescriptions, what he'd rather see, what he's putting forward for budget 2026. So that is one aspect of it. So I don't get giddy. With Terence, I see Terence talking. With Terence there, right? I just wanted to put that out there. Right? If the speaker wants, he can choose an appropriate time, and I'm certain he's going to alert the National Assembly formally that this morning there was an election of the leader of the opposition. I think he has a role also to inform the president that there was an election this morning. I think I heard Mr. Mohammed said it went very smoothly. It did. But once we saw the speaker was going in the direction of show of hands, there was no need for that. There was no need for that. And so that is what's going to happen here. But there isn't a formal part in the program this afternoon, for instance, for a response from Terence Campbell, the parliamentary lead for APNO, or from the for comments or remarks from the leader of the opposition. There isn't that on the order paper. And this was circulated days ago. This is how Parliament operates. They are duty bound by the law to submit the order paper, I think, a week in advance. So we know what is on the agenda for today, a week in advance. So we had this in our possession for many days now. So we know what is coming. We know what is coming. So I wanted to put that out there just to give you a sense so that we're all on the same page. At least we try to be, right? So don't look forward to Terence or Danish or Mr. Mohammed having a formal part from the floor this afternoon. As I said, today is about, this afternoon rather, let me take it from 2 o'clock, is about this afternoon is about the Minister of Finance, Dr. Ashni Singh, and he's going to present his budget for about maybe 5 to 6 hours. I'd be surprised if the budget is shorter. I'd be surprised if the budget is shorter. And of course, everybody looks for that big number. What is the total cost of budget 2026? What is that total cost? Is it going to touch $1.5 trillion? Will it touch $2 trillion? That is the stratosphere we are in with these budgets currently. These are $1 trillion budgets, right? I see Anne, Bruce, and Ernest, and all the other folks there. We got another. I have 127 by my clock, so we have our out. Of course, I'll be off and transitioning to the other team, who's going to be taking it from there for just a few moments. But that is one of the things I wanted to give you guys a heads up on, because you can got mega a lot of people out there pelting at the television this afternoon. Where me buyer, where me girl, and so on. So I just wanted to walk you through that one thing in particular for this afternoon. The other thing that we are getting into, yeah. So I was telling you, the leader of the opposition will have will have about an hour 15 minutes on the final day of budget presentation. That is when that time is allocated. And in between that time, we're going to hear from shadow ministers who get a half hour plus 15 minutes. And you'll hear from other members of parliament for the opposition who will get 15 plus 5 minutes, I believe it is. So we start today, the budget is presented today, and then we have a couple days break in which we study the budget. We're going to be given 3 volumes, three three sizable books that contain the, let's say, the fine prints of the budget to study within that time over the next couple of days. And then we get a chance now to come back by Monday, I think it is, if not late this week. I suspect it will be on Monday. And we're going to start what we call interrogating the budget, all of this spending and so on. So I want to alert you to something else. I promise I talk about 2 issues who you will see today, especially for those persons who are new to following the work of the National Assembly and members of Parliament. This afternoon is about Ashley. Let's say this morning was about Ashley Mohammed being elected as leader of the opposition. This afternoon is going to be about Dr. Ashley Singh presenting that budget. Right? Um, the other thing I wanted to alert you to as we engage the next few days. The second thing I alert you to is that there's going to be a break for a couple of days for, of course, members of the opposition to study what has been put forward today, and then for members of the opposition to, you'll get a chance now to ask the subject minister specific questions based on their ministries, what they have spent and what they intend to spend for this year. That's going to be a week long process, right? And then you have another week for the debates, right? The debates, and then the debates come first, and then the scrutiny of the estimates afterwards. So we got about 3 weeks in us. We have about 3 weeks ahead of us. But I want to alert you to something. Lisa slipped me again. Um, I know that in the recent past, I see the refrain on and off. Up new walking with the PPP. Up new walking with the PPP. Right? When we meet, especially in this 2-3 weeks process, we are working with the government. I want to alert you to that. The government is going to make proposals for spending on education. We say yes. We want our kids to get the best education. We will agree with them. We will scrutinize. We will ask questions about what they're spending on education and why they're spending on education. And as I said, we'll make our policy prescriptions as well. But at the end of the day, we will agree for this sum for education. We will disagree on some things. What I wanted to get at is this: working with the government. This is a process in which we are here because we want what is best for all Guyanese. And so, in the next 3 weeks, there'll be some amount of working with the government. I hope that you guys are not surprised by that. I hope that you guys are not surprised by that. There'll be some amount of that. So, for instance, I'm certain this afternoon you're going to hear about that one-off cash grant that we're supposed to get for December. You're going to hear about some of that, right? You're going to hear about some of that one-off cash grab. We're going to agree. I don't think you have a member of this National Assembly going to disagree with the government. Don't give the people the cash grab. We're going to agree. Is that you're working with the government? You think you understand me? You think you understand me? Or is a party expected to oppose the whole budget because we don't want to be seen as working with the government? Health, for instance, maintenance of hospitals, modern hospitals, up to date drugs. Don't we all want that for the Guyanese people? So while we will interrogate and ask the subject minister, Dr. Frank Anthony, about this, what we've seen, and that, what we've seen, and this spending in the past, and that spending in the past, at the end of the day, we will agree on the spending for health because Guyanese people lives are affected by that. So when people talk about you working with the government, working with the PPP, in this National Assembly, if we are to affect the lives of people out there across the spectrum, old age pension, for instance, old age pension, that's another thing people are going to be looking at, listening for this afternoon. Where is old age pension? And so at the end of the day, when we finish making our position, we will we will agree with the government, we will vote with them and say, we want this amount, we want this amount for old age pension. Is that working with the government? I want to alert you because I feel that quite a few people are now tuning in and not as perhaps informed as they should be, but I have no doubt that you folks are going to get up to scratch in very, very short order. So I wanted to point you to that in this budgetary process, you might not agree with the budget in its entirety, and I don't expect that Ford Guyana movement, we invest in nationhood, or APNU is going to agree with the budget in totality, because you got a lot of things. I won't be parliamentary because I'm in the sanctity of the dome of the Orchard Convention Center. I got 134 at my end, so we got another few minutes, to get the main session underway. I'm going to be off in just a little bit, and another part of the team will be picking up coverage from there. But I just wanted to alert folks because I see some people talking about this working with the government as though it's a conspiracy. But we are in a budget process where we are trying to push government in a direction in what is in the interest of all Guyanese. And on some critical matters, we will agree with the government to spend the money in these areas. I have seen WIN, like APNU, point out quite a number of things over the last few weeks, the last few days. I have been to um, I have been to Haslington, I've been to Mucka, I've been to Enterprise, I've been to this region 4, I've been to region 1 quite recently, Mabaruma, I've been to Letem, recently been to region 7. There's a lot of things that need fixing in this country, and it takes money to fix it. It takes money to fix it, a lot of money too, and that is why we are here. That is the crux of it. Cost of living. We're going to be listening very keenly to see what cost of living measures are contained in budget 2026. And I don't think there's an MP in this room who is going to disagree that those cost of living measures should not be there. We might disagree in the amount they might give. So the government might decide this afternoon, you might hear, is $100,000. It's $100,000. We might believe, as we do, for individual, let it be $200,000 per individual. That might be our thinking, right? At the end of the day, I don't think anybody here will say, don't get Guyanese $100,000 unless it's $200,000. We will have our positions, but because it concerns Guyanese, again, I'm hitting at this working with the government, working with the PPP. In the interest of Guyanese, there are things we're going to disagree with, period. We agree with you here. But there are some amount of these things we're also going to be agreeing that our Guyanese receive these benefits. So I just wanted to. So I'm looking forward to a very a very good afternoon. I'm looking forward to a very good afternoon. I wanna listen. I wanna take in some of what is going to be said this afternoon. Make notes. We're going to receive a copy of the budget afterwards. I don't know why they wait so long. We're going to get a copy of the budget after the presentation has been made, maybe around 7, 8 o'clock. Let's see how long the presentation goes. And we're also going to get the estimates, those huge volumes. We're going to get that as well. We're going to get that as well. And so over the next few days, I have no doubt, next few weeks, we are going to be interrogating this process even more, right? I have no doubt that over the next few days, few weeks, we're going to be interrogating this process even more. Um, some of the members of the public, other members of parliament are coming in. And let me pan around, show you that quickly. Some of the other members are coming in. As I said, we get underway officially here from 2 p.m. this afternoon. We are at the Audichong Conference Center. It's the dome of the Audichong Conference Center we're in currently. It's the first sitting of the National Assembly for 2025. For 2025, it's the second sitting is being held for the 13th Parliament. Of course, you know the first sitting was on November 3rd, in which the 13th Parliament commenced. The Speaker was elected, the Deputy Speaker was elected, and that is how it has been. No committees have been selected, no committee members have been appointed as yet. But all of those committees have to be constituted, which means the committee meeting has to be called. That's how the process gets underway. The committee meeting has to be called. Right? The committee meeting has to be called. As I said, we have some members of the public who are coming in. We also have some of our members of parliament who are coming in as well. And we are 20 minutes out. We are 20 minutes out. And as I said, today is about the budget, and the minister with responsibility, the minister within the office of the president with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashley Singh, will be presenting that budget. He usually speaks for about 5 to 6 hours, right? Of course, you got to enjoy a lot of things. You got to hear a lot of stuff about wind and apno and all of that. You got to hear a lot of stuff about that. So brace yourself. Brace yourself. I'm looking forward to engaging you folks over the next few days, over the next few weeks. And as I said, I understand. I understand that we have a lot of educating to do. A lot of educating to do. I understand that we have a lot of educating to do with members of the public because uh, I'm live. Dr. Hines was about to say hello. Yeah, Dr. Member of Parliament, Dr. David Hines just came in as you saw there. And so this is what's happening. We're in the 20 minutes approaching the appointed hour, that 2 o'clock hour. I have 141 at my end. I have no doubt the sitting is going to start promptly as the meeting did this morning at the National Assembly. I have no doubt it's going to start very, very promptly. Some of the housekeeping has finished. And the members are now coming in, members of the public and members of the National Assembly. I note that the diplomatic corps is supposed to be here today. Members of the private sector as well are going to be here today. The private sector has already given their thoughts on some aspects of budget 2026. As a member of the National Assembly, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. And so we move forward. We move forward, guys. I'm going to take the liberty of just another couple of minutes, and then I will make way for the other team to pick up at the top of the hour, while I ready myself also for the commencement of the 13th Parliament, the second sitting of the 13th Parliament, the first sitting for 2025, which begins at 2 o'clock. We're here in Lillian Dahl, beautiful Lillian Dahl, the dome of the Arthur Chung Conference Center, and some of the members of the National Assembly and members of the public, invited members of the public, no doubt, moving around, making themselves comfortable. It's the first time we're meeting back for the new year in the National Assembly, and of course, here we are, right? Here we are. Good having you guys on. As I said, we have to engage, and I hope the National Assembly picks up on some of it, because the National Assembly has the budget to do it. And education, I know they used to do it in the past. I think they had some of it in the 12th Parliament, educating the public on the workings of the National Assembly. I think more of that needs to be done, but I think I too, as a member of Parliament, I have some responsibility so that there's not too much of misinformation out there, and I owe it to my constituents as well to do that. But great having all of you. No doubt the Parliament's own link has already started. No doubt, you can refer to that, and I know members of our team also in the public relations aspect. I am live, so I don't want to say too much. Mr. Daniel Chiram, former chairman of Region 4, just came in and was saying hello. Yeah, but that being said, folks, I want to take my leave here, and I know that other members periodically during the course of the afternoon of PR team will keep you guys updated with what's happening and how things are going here. I may pop on back also if I think you guys need to know anything else. But this is going to be a long session, so I'm putting an asterisk next to whether we're going to have a formal program this evening. There's an asterisk there because I really want to focus. This budget means something to our people, should mean something to our people. So I want to give a lot of my attention to the presentation of the budget, hearing some of those numbers. All right, we're about to get on with. That's the first bell you hear. See, a lot of education needed. That's the first bell you hear to say we're getting ready to start. And then there's a second bell, and then we're into it. So that is my cue. That is my cue at 1:45, right on time. At quarter to two rather. At 1:45, the first bell has gone. There's going to be a second bell in a couple of minutes, and then so it's like on your mark, get ready. Second bell is get ready, and then we begin the formal session. Let me pan around again. Some other folks are coming in and occupying. I'm good. Very good afternoon. So let me leave it there. Mr. Leonard Schumann just came in and was saying hello. Formerly of Liberty and Justice Party. But let me leave it there, folks. Let me leave it there, and I'm going to leave the rest to my colleagues picking up on our coverage. That's going to do it for me at this end here, as I prepare for the formal session to begin of the 13th Parliament here at the Dome at the Arthur Chung Conference Center. Thanks for joining us.